So after watching some YouTube videos, I learned how to take off the front of the piano. I did that with the intention to clean it and then start with the tuning. There were a few things stuck into the piano that I guess just fell in it throughout the years. So I got most of that out, and then I took out all the tools. That's the tuning hammer, and then it came with 4 mutes and then some kind of felt something, which are also used for mutes, but then something was sticky on the side. So I paused and decided to clean that up. It was on the side and right along the front edge. And then I think I put this in out of order, but this is my phone actually in the piano, and I was just going across to see if I had gotten all of the trash, because I noticed that some of the keys were still sticky, and as you can see, there was still some trash left. And that little piece that you just saw, that's one of the piano hammers that I realized later was actually broken, and I'll get to that in the video. This is me trying to clean 2 of the sticky keys, and by sticky I mean when you press a piano key, it's supposed to bounce a few times against the string, but these keys, they don't bounce and they don't come all the way back up. And so again, based on YouTube videos, they were like, shake it. It could just be something in the sides of them or whatever. So I used a toothpick to see if I could dig out anything that may have been lodged right on the side, but that didn't work. And so now I'm just kind of pressing the keys, and I'm trying to figure out how the hammering mechanism works on the inside, because it may be a spring or something on that top part that I need to change or look at getting changed. So I'm just examining that, trying to see if I can figure it out. Still playing around with the keys, but I couldn't figure it out, and I decided, let me just check the rest of the keys on the piano to see how many sticky keys I had. So just going up and down, going up the piano, playing every key. And then I did notice, you'll see me kind of hesitate coming up, I think about right here. And I'm hesitating because I noticed that one of the keys didn't make a sound at all. And when I got up, that's when I realized that the hammer from that key is missing. So when I press the key, there's nothing that hits the strings to actually make the sound. And where it's broken off, I don't really know how and if I'll be able to replace it. That may be something I have to get a professional to do if I choose to make that investment. So after doing all of that, it was actually time to get to the tuning. So what I'm doing here with these middle keys, and I started with middle C, there are 3 strings that are attached to that one key that make up the sound. And so what I had to do is go in and tune each key separately. So I put the mute in between 2 of the strings to mute 2 of them, and I'm now tuning, or I first tuned the top string, or the first string, which is the top knob or whatever you call the things up top that I put the hammer on. So I put the mute in there, and then I just have to lightly tap it to get the sound. And if you can see my phone in the far right, I have a piano tuner app open, and so what happens every time I press the piano key, the tuning app tells me what key the piano is currently in, and this, or what note the piano is currently playing. And so the piano was off by a lot. When I pressed the C, it was playing, I think, a B or a D, I don't remember, but it was not playing a C at all. And so I kept tapping until I got that one string to C, and then you see I'm taking the hammer off, then I take the mute off, and I'm moving it to the left, and that's going to mute the 2 left strings so I can tune the far right string, which is the bottom notch. So now you'll see me put the hammer on another notch, which will be the bottom of the 3 that are attached to this middle C key. And so I have to do the same thing, just tap it lightly until my piano tuner is showing me that it's actually playing the C note that it's supposed to play. And then after I do the note here, after I get this string tuned, you'll see I'm going to take the hammer off again. Then I'm going to remove that mute that I have there. And in order to do the middle string, what I had to do is lodge, and you'll see me do it, lodge the piece of felt, which I'm sure that's also called a mute, but this is me taking it out of the bag. I use this and I stuff it in between, or on the outside of the far right string and on the outside of the far left string, so that it mutes the two outer strings and the middle string will play. And so after I finally figure out how to get that in, I was trying to be careful because the last thing I want to do is pop one of the piano strings, because I know that's going to be even more work to replace. And based on looking at the piano, all of the strings are intact, so that's a really good thing. So I got the mutes on there. I'm playing the C, and I am going to put the hammer, the tuning hammer, back on and do the same thing. Tap it until it actually plays the C note. And then once I have that third individual string at the right, on the right key, then when I play it together, all three of them together should give me that middle C sound. And I think altogether it took me about 5 minutes to tune this one key. So I will say this was a little bit discouraging, and I was like, oh man, I might have bitten off too much to chew. But again, it's summertime and I can make time to do this. But you'll see after I played that C and it actually read correctly on the piano tuner, I was very excited, and I was encouraged to know that I can do it. This is another day. You can see my clothes have changed, and I decided to give it a go again, and I was able to tune. I did the C, and then I worked backwards, B, A, G, and then I went to the other side of the C, D, E, F, and so I tuned all of those keys all in one setting, and I think it took me about 20 minutes. So I did get a little bit faster knowing how to put the mutes in there. And of course my tuning isn't perfect, but it works for me.